Curtis, Mary Lee, these students are pretty much saying they're not going anywhere. Earlier on the mic, a student said that they don't respect that letter. They're not going to respect the demands. And if I simply just step to the side here, you can see it's actually getting louder. I've been here on Monday. I also came on Tuesday. And to me right now, this is the loudest I've seen it. Come again?
Increased police presence at all?
Oh, you know what, Curtis? I can't quite hear you, but like I said, there are counter-protesters. The police presence has been moderate. There aren't many officers around right now. They are scattered. I haven't seen anything out of the ordinary on that note. Still a very active scene behind me as law enforcement takes care of this investigation. PD telling me it's unclear as to when the driver was shot, if he was shot after the crash or if he was shot before the crash. It's something they're still investigating. The Euclid police chief struggling to find the words, choking up as he described 23-year-old Jacob Durbin, who had his whole life ahead of him, a wedding planned for July. His father is also an officer with the police department. The police tell us it all started with a property dispute. The result, 4 people shot, 1 woman dead, and the suspect in custody. The Cleveland Marathon is underway here. You can see behind me, runners are running. Something super special that everybody looks forward to. It's a difficult task, but one Anthony Fennell says he's prepared for.
Only been here since March, so it's still got a lot of work to do to build up.
Fennell is the first auditor of the Akron Citizens Police Oversight Board. He will lead the office of the independent police auditor, tracking complaints about use of force and how the police department handles them.
And I was a police officer in Indianapolis for almost 24 years.
Fennell is already raising questions about police discipline. In his first report, asking why Officer Thomas Shoemaker used force on a woman, body slamming her during a family argument.
In my findings were some questions about that would involve potential discipline if an investigation were launched.
Fennell wants to know why the department didn't review the use of force in this case and why the incident wasn't reported in line with department policy, which states, quote, "An officer shall notify his or her immediate supervisor as soon as practical when any reportable force has been used against a person or any injury or alleged injury occurs to officers or civilians." In his report, Fennell requests the Civilian Police Oversight Board and Akron Police change this use of force to not objectively reasonable and take appropriate disciplinary action. He also wants the police department to launch an internal affairs investigation and into the actions of Officer Shoemaker and another officer who didn't intercede or report the incident.
And in my determination, I do not believe force should have been used. I do not believe she committed a criminal offense.
Fennell has about 270 cases he's getting ready to review. While he knows the journey will be long, he hopes his work will make a difference.
Or law enforcement has to have the trust of the community. So anytime I can help to rebuild that trust and also help establish and help work with law enforcement to create some policies and practices that work towards that end, then that's rewarding.
George Sokolakis is the director of organization at the OPBA, representing officers across police departments in Ohio.
Some of these policies are, for instance, named as a log sheet policy. And in the middle of the log sheet policy, it says, oh, by the way, you have to write this many tickets.
Ticket quotas are a predetermined number of citations an officer is required to issue within a specific amount of time. They're banned in some states, and Sokolakis wants Ohio to follow suit, pointing to incidents submitted by police officers to the OPBA.
And then you have an officer who's disciplined for not writing enough tickets. Then you have an officer who is removed from the opportunity to work overtime details because he didn't have enough tickets.
The city of Independence had to pay a former police lieutenant nearly $1 million after he sued, saying he was forced to retire after fighting a so-called performance standard, requiring officers to issue at least 10 traffic citations a month. Ohio State Representative Bride Rose Sweeney saying this doesn't sit well with her.
I've made a point to make sure that we're actually passing bills that truly do something and actually what the community wants.
Sweeney introducing House Bill 333 in the Ohio House,
prohibiting quota systems as well as incentives for hitting a suggested number of citations. The bill would also create an anonymous form to help officers report the use of quota systems.
We're going to send a message that that will not be allowed in Ohio if we pass this bill, that no municipality can have an arbitrary quota.
Sakalakis says eliminating ticket quotas will help officers serve with honor and respect.
Officers want to get in the community and do good. They want to prevent crimes. They want to solve crimes. They want to have positive interactions. They don't want to be an occupying force, pulling people over for every broken taillight and writing tickets just so they can maintain their jobs. They've never wanted that, and they especially don't want that today.
For Spectrum News, I'm Wiley Jahari.
What do you need, honey?
Diane Dever is following her mother's footsteps. This stand at the Westside Market, opening in 1971 by Irene Dever.
I think I started when I was 9 or 10 years old. I could hardly wait to come to this business and help her and my grandmother with our stand.
But the road hasn't always been easy. The 111-year-old market is continuing to battle infrastructure and maintenance issues.
But today the last elevator broke.
And those problems are only getting worse, with 4 elevators recently breaking down, leaving vendors without easy access to their products.
It hurts because it's not just my home, it's the whole city of Cleveland's home.
Dever says the market has been dealing with plumbing, electric, and other issues for years, even working without heat or air conditioning. She's supporting a plan proposed by Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb to spend $15 million in ARPA funds to improve the market's quality. She says what keeps her going is the memory of her mother.
There was a stand that had a little opening, and I would come in with my mom, and I would sleep under there because I was probably like 9 or 10 years old.
But Don Whitaker, the president of the Westside Market Tenants Association, says council needs to accept the mayor's proposal.
To the Cleveland Public Market Corporation, that they take over the day-to-day operations of the building and, get us into the next century here.
Council President Blaine Griffin says restoring the market is important, but council also has to be fair to the rest of the city.
But it's very hard to justify putting $15 million into one city asset when we have entire neighborhoods that quite frankly haven't seen much investment, if any.
Dever says she will continue to put up a fight, the same one her mother started.
We're still fighting for a lot of the stuff that she fought for and the other vendors fought for. So it's been a long time. Council wants stuff.
Meanwhile, customers are starting to notice the issues plaguing this historic building. Dever says she has a reason to not give up, a reason that hits close to home.
She just passed away a year ago, and I know she's watching over us and saying, keep fighting. And that's what I'm going to do.
For Spectrum News, I'm Wiley Jahari.